two special guests from DHL supply chain, and we will talk about the DHL digitalization strategy and how we manage the future talent in our organization today. Before introducing them, I would like to touch the program details a little bit. The program name is TEKNOLOJİSTİK. As the name implies, TEKNOLOJİSTİK is an idea contest that we aim to bring technology, logistics, and the young generation together. Together, and we launched the program last year in 2019. We got tremendous applications from the university students. We have reached over 45 universities and we got nearly 60 applications. Great ideas, and we have awarded 5 of them. And more importantly, we have welcomed 4 newcomers together with the program, and they are working with us currently. This year, we converted the program to a fully digital format due to the pandemic environment. From the mid of August till the 1st of November, we organized 6 digitalization webinars with academicians, startup founders, and industry leaders. We talked about Industry 4.0 in general, artificial intelligence, big data, and also Society 5.0, considering the society and human being part of it. I can proudly tell that we have got record number of applications this year digitally, over 60 applications again. There are great ideas that we are going to scrutinize all of them, and we will do the announcement soon. Today, as I mentioned, we have come to the final webinar, and I am really happy to welcome Tanja Kueppers, who is mainland Europe, Middle East Africa Chief Operations Officer in DHL Supply Chain, and Markus Voss, DHL Supply Chain Global Chief of Information and Chief Operations Officer. Please join me in welcoming them. Thanks for making this happen, first of all, Markus and Tanja. I know you have extremely busy agendas, but on the other hand, I know how much you care about engaging with a young generation, with the students. I wish you a great conversation, and over to you, Markus, Tanja.
Very good. Welcome, everyone. I am really excited today to talk about digitalization, logistics, and hopefully have a good conversation also with you then on the Q&A later on. So my name is Markus Voss. I have studied chemistry, which is probably unusual for the logistics industry. And I studied femtochemistry a long time ago, but I've been in logistics for almost 20 years. And I had the global supply chain division, as Ahmed was saying.
Yes, and also from my side, a warm welcome to this very special session. I'm really feeling, delighted, Ahmed, that you invited us, that you gave us the opportunity to speak to your colleagues, and and also to the students. So therefore, let me also introduce myself. My name is Tanja Kueppers. I'm the CEO of DHL Supply Chain MLEMEA. I'm also work a lot with students, so that is very close to my heart because I'm also lecturing digitalization at a private university here in Germany, Cologne. And I think now, Markus, I think we should open the session, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Would you like then to start?
Yes, so let's talk about digitalization for a moment on the group perspective. We'll get very, very specific on the course of this 45 minutes or so and give you some examples of how we are driving this with a lot of passion and with a lot of new ideas, and obviously also accompanied with the culture. But what I have listed here on this slide is just very briefly the DPDHL strategy. And I won't go into any detail here, but our purpose, connecting people, improving life, has probably never been more important than in the current COVID-19 crisis. We are the logistics company for the world, and our values are respect and results. But as you can see, everything underpinned here in terms of our mission, our business unit focus, is by digitalization. Digitalization is a very, very important part of our agenda, and it will change the way that logistics is done in the future. But digitalization, you can also look in different ways. And we have decided to look at this in three main buckets. If you look at the right-hand side, it is really around enhancing the customer experience, constantly thinking in the customer's shoes, what will make life easier? How can they order better? How can they better have a better and a seamless supply chain? Secondly, how can we enhance our employee experience? We're also constantly thinking of how can we make it better. We have some examples later on how we are changing the way that logistics is done for the individuals, for the 500,000 people that we have employed in DPDHL, and make their life easier, that they get into the work every day and they very quickly know of what's expected of them. And the last one is obviously as well to increase operational efficiency. If we're honest in logistics, there's still a lot of waste in the overall system. And we are constantly looking at ways of how we can increase the efficiency of the things that we do. So there's also always a consideration, and as what would be also good to have a chat about that is, what is the framework made of? Are we really exploiting technology? Or is there always something where we are looking at new business models augmenting our core, something completely different? And we have done a few experiments in the past, but we have decided as a group now to concentrate on the exploitation of this technology. It has huge potential for us in the three areas that I mentioned: customer experience, employee experience, and operational efficiency. And this is where we are going to play. 95% of all the efforts that we're doing in terms of digitalization will be to exploit the technology rather than try out something brand new, where probably other companies might be better positioned in doing that.
Very good. Markus just explained that our purpose is very strong. We are here really from a DHL perspective to connect people and improving their life. Another aspect which always resonates very much with me is to work for a company which has a very strong vision. And this is that we are the logistic company for the world. And Markus, I totally agree with you. Digitalization is the key lever in order really to define the industry in the end of logistics. And that leads me also to the next slide, because we in DHL supply chain, of course, we also live and breathe the purpose, but also the vision. And for us, it's very clear we would like to be the supply chain solution company in the world. And that comes with, of course, with a very important task for us as a leader. And Markus, I'm not sure if you agree with me when I say it is really imperative that we act as thought leaders of tomorrow's supply chain solutions, because this is why we are here. And therefore, I'm so proud also to share with you that we in DHL Supply Chain have come up with a very, very strong strategy to fulfill this purpose, but also to achieve our vision to be the supply chain solution in the world. And in the end, when you have such a vision, such a very powerful vision, of course, you need to shape own tomorrow. You need to own tomorrow, because we are the thought leaders. And this comes obviously with topics like be the leaders when it comes to innovation and sustainable solutions, but also be able to unlock the creative potential of your workforce. Markus just explained this with the employee experience, right? And the customer experience that we would like to trigger much more. But of course, I mean, we have 550,000 employees in our company, and within DHL Supply Chain, we are talking about 150,000 people. When you're unlocking this creative power, of course, you need to do it in a coordinated way. And then when we're also coming to owning tomorrow, what is definitely also important is to have a strong dream. And Markus and I, we are very huge dreamers, because the thing what we really like to make a reality is the digital supply chain. But this digital supply chain that we can also offer then to the market and to our customers, not in months, but within a minute. And with that dream, I think we're very well positioned. Every one of us is really working hard towards that vision, and everyone is super passionate to achieve it. And when I say us, it means that, of course, we can only achieve this. And now I would like to draw this from left to the right. You see this here on the picture, on the slide. it all starts with having a strong team of connected people and a team which constantly strives for execution edge, which is in the end excellence in operation, for a very important reason, and this is to delight our customers, because we would like to give them an outstanding customer experience when they work with us. And I think that describes very nicely our path towards, and sets also nicely the scene, Markus, for us now, why digitalization is so close to our heart. Would you like then to continue?
It is, yes. And so let's then look a little bit at what's happening to our world. We are the supply chain solutions company for the world, as Tanja rightly said. However, the world is changing, and it's changing very fast. And what is changing has a fundamental impact on logistics. Number one, digitalization, obviously. Faster technology is coming every day that we have to look at, and we have to adopt it very, very quickly. Automation and robotics are becoming a reality, and we'll see that in a moment. This is not something which can only be done with a 10-year payback, and which we can only do if we have very, very long lead times, but actually something that we can deploy everywhere for all of our customers. Data services are something which we'll talk about in this session very, very concretely, but that is something that drives digitalization, the underpinning data. We have more data than every company, logistics company in the world, and we are leveraging this now to optimize the supply chains for our customers. The customer world is also changing, not only in the COVID times, but even before. The rise of e-commerce has changed the way that things are ordered and how we need to respond to this. Obviously, every one of us is asking for faster delivery times. Next day is, I guess, the minimum that we're all expecting. But there's also much reduced order lines. So where we used to maybe in the past ship pallets, it reduces more and more to piece picking operations, where we then ship directly to a customer. Very, very different kind of trend how things are moving for a supply chain 3PL company like us. So, and you need many more people to do this because there's more physical work that needs to be done. Putting the things on the shelf and then taking a single item out of it rather than just shipping a pallet in, pallet out operation. New value-added services are constantly added. Our customers are asking us to put new things around their products and postpone this as a very last minute so that they can respond to new signals in the market very, very quickly. And obviously, sustainable solutions. Go green, how we also call it, is a major trend. If I talk to customers, next to digitalization, the whole sustainability agenda is probably the second most asked topic in terms of how we can help them to be more sustainable and to be carbon neutral. The other trend that we are seeing, and that even in today's times, is still a labor shortage across all regions and sectors. So on the one hand side, you see what I just said, that we have more work to do because we are looking at smaller quantities, but on the other hand, the labor is very, very in short supply. And we need to deliver new skills. The digital skills, everything that we'll be showing you is very different from the traditional way of working in logistics. And it requires an upskilling of our people, which we're taking very, very seriously. So our strategy, which Tanja will explain now, addresses these challenges. And it also gives new opportunities so that we can truly own tomorrow.
Yes, Markus. I mean, as we said, we have a very clear understanding what we would like to achieve and why we would like to achieve. And again, we would like to make digital supply chain or digitalized supply chain a reality. We would like to make it true, right? We would like to live our dream. And but it's not enough to have a very clear vision and a very clear idea and aspiration what you would like to achieve. You also need to have a path towards it. And this is what this slides nicely describe it, because there you see the path towards our digitalized supply chain. And I think everyone from DHL would agree with me when I say now, the times of supply chain of yesterday, and this is the starting point here in grayish, is over. we are not anymore only with trucks and sheds. I mean, that is very clear. Where we are now going more and more into is, first of all, to have enabling tools and processes, digital enabling tools and processes, be it, for example, with assisted picking bots, what we are currently very discussing heavily in our company, where to apply them. You also see here nice pictures of a locust bot. But what we also see more and more is that those digital enabling tools and processes so far have been more implemented, let's say more or less in a kind of silo and standalone environment. We are now currently more and more at the edge to connect now the digital tools and the processes. And this is already where we are coming into what we call here tomorrow. The third part, which is the data interaction, where we see that we are now connecting more digital technologies and be it, for example, with our robotics hub in combination with the assisted picking bot, because there we see that we can unlock much more potential in our operations. And when you can even combine it, for example, with a 3D simulation, you can even shape better your ecosystem. So we are actually going more and more into that tomorrow phase, how we see it here on the slide. But in the end, these are exactly the same steps that are the important steps that we need to do in order to achieve finally, and this is, as I said, our vision, our digitalized supply chain dream, which is our North Star. I think, Markus, I'm not sure how you perceive it, but I think we are doing really a great job. Each and every day we are developing and rolling out more and more of the digital tools and technologies in our operations, to make our vision come true.
Yeah, indeed. And so I explained at the beginning that I'm coming from a natural science background, and what do natural scientists do? They decompose a problem into smaller pieces, and then they work on the individual pieces and find solutions for smaller problems, which will then be part of a bigger problem. So this is what we did also in our logistics problem. So obviously, if you see here in the middle, that is a very, very simplified, but still a supply chain of how things are working in the supply chain world. So obviously there are trucks coming in, and there is workers who are doing the inbound, and then there's usually some sort of a put away. There is a picking process, there's a packing process, and at some point this is then sent on its way to the receiving end. So this is a very simplified look at how we do this. What we have done is to look at every angle of this value chain: receiving, storage, picking, packing, and dispatch and delivery, at ways of how we can deploy and how we can accelerate the introduction of digital solutions. And this is what we have done here. So obviously everything that is around intelligent process automation or supporting robots is also part of our digital journey. But more concretely, we're looking at indoor robotics transport. The one thing that you see in every warehouse are forklifts. Forklifts with drivers on them, and they are driving long distances sometimes. We have huge warehouses, hundreds of thousands of square meters where long distance have to be traveled. And we have been now deploying the first solutions where all of these movements are completely done by autonomous forklifts, which do not require a driver anymore. So what we are all, to a certain extent at least, thriving for in our private lives, that autonomous driving on the Autobahn is going to end up in a more safe environment, we have made a reality in our logistics environment. So we have many autonomous vehicles driving around in our warehouse, which is a more controlled environment, and the problem is a little bit simpler to solve. But on the other hand, it's also much heavier of what we have to occasionally transport. Inventory management robots to do a cycle count, fully autonomous and automatic, is something that we have also introduced. Assisted picking robots is the solution for the e-commerce industry, where we do piece picking operations and we use swarm intelligence. We're working together with partners like 6 Rivers or Locus, where we are deploying hundreds and thousands of those assisted picking robots into our operations, helping our associates to stay in their aisle and then do the picking just very close to where they are. So many of those unnecessary or very labor-intensive movements are indeed replaced by the robots. We'll show an example of wearable devices, a trend which we have definitely seen in our private lives as well, but we are deploying this now and actively using this with smart operation in our warehouses to equip our workers with new devices, touch devices, which make it much more, I guess, easy for them to start a new operation. And we see that the knowledge curve or the learning curve is much faster. Goods to person robots, very interesting technology as well, where racks are moving around and the goods are transported to the person. It needs more space, so not all of these technologies are applicable to each and every of our operation. But what we do is with our solution design people, ops excellence people, and our IT colleagues to look at an existing warehouse or a new solution that we're doing for our customer and deploy the right solution in the right environment. Robotics arms are more and more introduced into our warehouses, where co-packing operation, if you put certain things together because the customer is asking for not only a certain item, but also maybe some accompanying material around this, which needs to be put in a box, very labor intensive. And we're running up Christmas, and some of you might know the advent calendars with 24 different pieces of chocolate, which in the past were put one by one into a blister. All of this can be done with robotics arms, and we have our own team working on those solutions, putting this together in short period of time, short payback. It's only used for 6 weeks in a year, and then we move this on to another operation. So many things which we can do with robots, with automatic solutions, and then obviously bringing the goods faster to the consuming entity. But all of this is underpinned by algorithms. Data, data, data. What used to be disconnected and very, very discrete in terms of its own tasks is generating data at every step on the way. So what we will do and what we are doing already is optimizing the tasks, the resources, and the inventory. If I talk about robots, we will not see the fully automated warehouse in the next couple of years. We'll always have people and robots working hand in hand. And in deciding which task goes to a robot, which task goes to a colleague of us, is something that can be done better by algorithms than by somebody trying to orchestrate it with the little oversight that we can do if we stand somewhere in the warehouse. That is how we decompose our problem and how we deploy the solutions one by one, but all encompassing by those algorithms of how we use the data to make things better.
Markus, I really love listening to you, how you explain our 12 focus technologies. But let me share with the audience briefly how we have come up with those, because there's also a very concrete approach in place, how we come up with the technologies that we would like to apply. And what we have created is a kind of funneling process. I think a majority of the companies know this. You start really to open up a funnel. You do research, you do proof of concepts. Then you are testing the technologies in these proof of concepts. And then in the end, you're going more into a productization approach. And then you are coming more into a deployment approach where you industrialize the product and you're rolling it out. I mean, in the end, for us, it's always important that the technology has a high feasibility, it has business viability, and of course, it has to fit in the end also to our customer desires, and it has to fulfill a customer need. And let me share a little bit with you what we have done, because what I said at the beginning when I explained our strategy with the so-called 4 hashtags, and when I explained hashtag Own Tomorrow, I said that it's very important to unlock the full potential of our creative people, but in a kind of orchestrated, coordinated way. And this is exactly a very good example how we are doing it. Because in the end, we talk about 150,000 employees in DHL supply chain and 550,000 in Deutsche Post DHL. Of course, there are endless innovative ideas. We are human beings, right? I mean, we as human beings, we are creative by nature. So that is a fantastic idea. And of course, Markus will later on touch that. Of course, we're also scanning constantly the horizon when it comes to new technologies that are coming up also outside our company. But in order to channel those innovative ideas, Markus explained this, we also mapped from an operational perspective, our so-called focus technologies. And be it the goods to men that you just explained, Markus, or be it the robotic arm, I mean, those are our key focus technologies that we are currently driving. And in order to see that we can shape more a digitalized culture, because that is in the end what we would like to achieve, of course, we had to focus within those 12 focus technologies, mainly on the most scalables, to realize a big spread within our operations and to touch as many people in our operations and as many customers, because this is then an important topic really to demonstrate that digitalization is our new norm. And out of those 12 technologies, of course, you are going then also into partnerships with technology providers. So we have 50 plus. We will also see later on in one of the videos, Markus, one of the partners. And all in all, at the moment, we are managing 3,500 plus opportunities. This is what we have identified throughout this funneling process. And where are we at the moment? With our 1,400 go lives or deployments that we have done so far, out of these 3,500 plus, we have already touched 550 plus customers. I mean, this is fantastic that we could also demonstrate to our customers a totally different customer experience when they work with us as the supply chain solution company of the world. And having said this, I think, Markus, you agree with me. It's on the one hand side important to unlock the creative potential of our people, but at the same time, there's so much creativity outside in the world. It's also important always to scan the horizon and to understand what the current trends are. And this leads me to the next slide. It would be great if you can introduce our trend radar.
Indeed. Yeah, and Tanja, just to reflect a little bit on what you just said, I am so proud of what we have achieved in a very short time frame. We talk about 1,400 go lives. This is a period of less than 2 years, right? I mean, we were having a lot of different ideas to be deployed, pilots everywhere, where we then said, okay, let us really concentrate on what we know is mature and what we can roll out in high quantities, but it will make a difference for our people, our customers, and also for the efficiency of operations. So that's why I think 1,400, and it's growing by every hour always. We have both a direct access to a dashboard where we can see by the minute of how we're doing. And this is a movement that we have created in DPDHL of how things are being embraced and rolled out in high quantities. But as you said, Tanja, there is constant change, and the students are probably working on the next big thing, which is currently somewhere in a lab, which is currently being tested, which is maybe a little bit too far out for us. So what we wanted to do is to not miss a trend, and that's why in DPDHL we have created a tool which we call the Logistic Trend Radar, which I think is super powerful. And before I talk about the specifics here, just a little hint here as well. This is public domain. You can download this on our website, which is listed here, and you can drill down into each and every of those trends and enhance your understanding of each trend of how we see it, which has been a trend which has been analyzed with academia, with our customers and our own colleagues. So how does this trend radar works then? There are two sides. One is the technology trends, which Tanja and I have talked on a number of things already, or touched a number of things. On the left-hand side is social and business trends. We cannot ignore that the world is changing. And if we think about sustainable logistics as maybe something which as a trend we hadn't seen maybe a couple of years ago, but is very, very, very important. So and how does a radar work? The further it is out here, the more years it will take to make a high impact. So, so this is how we look at this. If there are trends like quantum computing, we think that's probably going to take around kind of 5 to 10 years when this quantum computing will be applicable into our operation. Sometimes we're all surprised how quickly a trend is moving, but that's our current view on this. But there are other things like big data or Internet of Things, which are very, very close, which have to be applied now. And that's how we look at things. So there are many, many things which you can see here, and I have definitely not enough time to explain them all in detail. But on the website, you can read why we have chosen those trends as the ones that we have on our radar, that we want to test and also look in our DHL Innovation Center and make them touchable and feel that you can feel them. But the closer they get here in the divisions we're deploying them. But secondly, you can then drill down into a very specific trend. And if you like to better understand the future of work, for example, there are papers around explaining this trend a little bit further, and going into the details of what this trend specifically means for logistics. There is always a section which talks about the trend in the outside world, maybe also in other industries of how it's already been used. But then we look into what does it mean for logistics, how can we apply it, and when will we see it in bigger quantities. So very, very exciting. We have those trends available: robotics, automation, artificial intelligence. Just recently published trend paper on this one. Very, very interesting to read. Or if you think about 5G technology, that's something which is an amazing paper. Really recommended for you to read if you would like to enhance your understanding of what it means for logistics.
Very good, Markus. I think one of the there was one topic what you said, that we created a movement, right? And I think it's so important that we have done this, because in the end, as I also explained, it's all about to shape a digital culture where this is not only a trend anymore, digitalization, it's the way how we work and how we live. And I think it would be good if we can share now with the students a little bit more details,
yes,
how we have created this movement, and I think also to make it more tangible to them, and in particular also tangible to our employees in the operations, what it means now to work with those digital technologies.
I agree.
And you came up with one, which was the wearables.
Yes.
If you allow, I think we should go then to our first video.
Yes, let's do that. Let's look at smart operations, which is our term for using technology that we all use in our day-to-day world. The smartphones we use is something which in the environment of a warehouse, in the environment of logistics, has not been adopted in high quantities a couple of years ago. There were still RF guns, how they are traditionally called, with a very clunky user interface, with big buttons on this, and it needs hours and weeks to explain our associates to work. So what we have introduced is smart operations. Let's maybe roll the video, and while the video rolls, I'll explain a little bit of what we have done. So
okay, good. Video is on.
No, this is without any audio. I will do the voiceover. So this is a before and after. And actually, the video has been taken by our colleagues in Thailand. And they have been starting to use those touch devices in an environment. And this is before and after. Usually, the associate had to go to another desktop somewhere, go back into the aisle, get his next task, and then start to do his next work. This is not needed anymore. Again, they had to go back to a meeting room on the right-hand side and look at their performance of how they have been working. Now they have it right at their fingertips. And lastly, when we think about safety, safety first is always important in logistics. They can take a picture of an unsafe environment very quickly, send it back to the system, the connected system, and they don't have to go back to an overarching control tower where two people are waiting and sitting just to receive maybe an information that there's an unsafe environment. So we're using Android-based devices of the market, and we have created an environment, and we've created the apps. Software is going to eat the world, as they say. And we are working very, very heavily on creating the DHL apps to make things which are complicated, which needs a lot of interaction time directly on the devices. They're wearing this. We have thousands of devices rolled out to our associate. It makes the work much, much easier. And we're constantly working on the next level. Like you do on your smartphone, you get the next version of a software. The same happens now that we can roll out new functionality by the press of a few buttons centrally, and a new app is going to distribute it to hundreds and thousands of devices. And the colleagues can use the next version of it so that they have an easier and a better way of working in that warehouse environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can definitely say, I mean, this is now an example here from Thailand, what Markus said. I can definitely confirm the same thing for MLEMEA, because I mean, when you are in a warehouse and you can work, as we have just seen, with the new device, with the new way of working, no one would like to go back to the old way of working, right? I mean, everyone is super happy now because that's a totally different employee experience that we shape in the warehouses, that everyone is now going on this new movement towards a digitalized supply chain. Another video that I want to share is, because that is also an interesting topic for me, algorithmic optimization. Of course, also there you will see here a movie, and this is also with tone, so it will be explained. But in the end, it's all about how can we optimize picking. And there you see that we applied a logic to group more the picks also there in order to improve our employee experience of our pickers. So moving up.
3 years ago, we started with the idea that for cluster picking operation, you could find the orders that are located really close to each other and group them together into one task. We could save a lot of travel distance for the picker and making the picking operation a lot more efficient. And later, we start to have the equations, we start to build the math model, we have the optimization, we have the proof of concept, and we have the user interface built.
Hey, yeah, I tried this new pick process today. I think it's going to be very efficient. I like all the picks are grouped together, so you're going to be able to pick faster, you're going to be able to pick more in a better time. I think the carts are going to be a lot fuller, so you're going to be able to make less trips with less carts. You're going to get everything grouped together, and I think everything is going to be a lot better in this new system.
Everything is going to be better. We're very closing of a video, yes, and the experience is indeed great. You feel it directly on the shop floor if things like data and the algorithms are being deployed. Okay,
absolutely. And I like it that we are bringing in also intelligence, right, into the warehouses and really to optimize further because we have all the data available.
So, and just maybe one comment also on this video to the students here. We have very cautiously and carefully picked those videos. They are not these polished DHL branded type of videos. They have been done by the people who have deployed the technology themselves. The one in Thailand, there was no question from us. Okay, can you do something and explain it? They did it themselves because the excitement was there. The excitement was there to roll this out. So, and the same one here. And we have one more, Tanja, to roll, which is on collaborative robots, which we are very, very excited about. I said before, we have more than 1,000 already deployed. And there's going to be a trend which is not going to stop. We are very excited. And what we have done, and Tanja mentioned that, is to work with our partners. This is all about an ecosystem of partnerships. We do not believe that in DHL we have all the wisdom in the world and we are creating all this solution on our own. That is, I think, a thinking of the past. It is all around sharing. It is about an open architecture. And it's about collaborating. Speed, for me, is more important than protecting intellectual property. We want to be the first, the fastest, with the best solution for our customers. So Tanja, maybe you go one slide further on the collaborative robots.
More than happy to do so.
And this has some audio as well.
In DHL supply chain, we're very excited that we have launched the DHL Robotics Hub in partnership with Blue Yonder, Microsoft, and also 6 Rivers.
Every once in a while, a development takes place in an industry that changes the future for the better permanently. Our co-innovation partnership around the Robotics Hub is one such example. We are incredibly honored to take this formidable step forward in the world of logistics with DHL.
Now we have done the go live. And Animal is really happy with the service levels that we are achieving and also the speed levels that we are managing right now for the summer period.
The Robotics Hub will enable us to move robots from one side to another and introduce it much quicker than it would normally be the case. Cost for implementation will go down and the speed will increase significantly. The Robotics Hub is a key component of our accelerated digitalization initiative. And with this, we will make the digital supply chain a reality.
The digital supply chain a reality, yeah. And I was very proud to do this co-act with Girish, a friend of mine, and Blue Yonder, who we have been working so closely with, which is one of our very strategic partners, to make this technology a reality. Why do we do this? Why do we build a robotics hub? It's a piece of software, again, together with Microsoft and Blue Yonder, because we think that will enable us by further standardizing the interfaces between a warehouse management system and those robots, and drive speed into deploying those solutions much faster, and also move them from one side to another, one customer to another, so that they don't have to pay off just for one single operation, but we can actually create umbrella BCAs where we say, hey, this is a solution that will stay with us. We know how to deploy it and we can use it somewhere else. This is a slide that explains and summarizes where we are. This is only the beginning. If you think about other industries like media or telecoms or banking, I mean, who of you have kind of last went to a retail bank? I mean, everything that we do in banking is usually done on your mobile phones or on your PCs. I mean, there's very little that needs an interaction at a retail bank. Or last time that you bought a CD, there's very few of us, I guess. Everything is streamed. So these industries are completely disrupted. There's a new way of working and things are done differently. Logistics is probably still at the brink. We are seeing those changes, and Tanja and I, we're super excited about these changes and how we can drive them. And we need colleagues who share the passion with us that we can create a new way of how logistics is being done in the future. So logistics, digitalization in logistics is happening now. And we want you to be part of it. And we want to be obviously at the forefront of that change.
Absolutely. And it's a nice handover, Markus, because you just said we would like to be the front runners of the change. But that also means in order to shape such a movement, you need also to inspire and to engage and to empower your entire workforce. Because in the end, we talk about digital culture, an organizational culture that is embracing digitalization. And that comes with a huge task for all of us leaders, because we need to be very active when it comes on change management. And change management, I reflected on this a little bit, Markus. I think you know that I'm very passionate when it comes to change management and organizational cultural change. And a little bit also for our students, I think you're all aware of John Kotter's change management approach. If not, please, I can only recommend this to all of you. Read that through. John Kotter usually talks about 8 different steps in order to shape a new organizational culture and to bring a culture from A to B. in our case, from a traditional culture towards a digitalized culture, which drives more fast learning and also fast failing, so to speak, and team building and cross-functional teamwork. But in the end, when you go through those 8 phases, and you can cluster those 8 steps into 3 groups. One is create a climate on change. The other one is engaging, enabling the workforce and the entire organization. And the third one is really to implement and to sustain the change. And when Markus, I reflected yesterday evening on those 3, and I really can say where I think where we have come to in our movement is, I think we have already managed the first part. And the first part is, the first element was create a climate of change. We have created a sense of urgency, why digitalization is so critical for us, right? Otherwise, we will never own tomorrow. We also have created a very strong vision and strategy. And in the second part of this Kotter change approach, we talk about engaging and enabling the entire workforce. And I think also there, we did a fantastic job when it comes to talent management, development. We are offering, when we are rolling out those devices, it always comes with a training package. And also our operational leaders, I mean, they got a full training and a full enablement when it comes on change management, how to communicate, right? I mean, we have broadcasted with our devices the so-called technology or digital technologies in 90 seconds. So where you have little broadcasts, little podcasts or whatever, little videos that you can use, and you understand precisely what the digital technology is about and what kind of benefit it brings to employees, to your operation, and also to our customers. We have done really a lot. We are working with digital showrooms, right, in order to bring this much more closer, much more tangible to everyone. I think what we have done on change management is really extraordinary good. And I think then the last step is then what we need to achieve in order to make our dream of a digitalized supply chain really come true and really sustainable as a culture, is then really to make it sure that, yeah, we are doing this on a day-to-day basis, yeah, that we have digital rooms where we come together in order to unlock the potential of creativity of our employees. So I think that is the only last step that we need to do, but it's still a way to go. I mean, we have explained this, but I'm fully with you, Markus. I'm also so proud and so passionate what we have achieved over the last 2 or 3 years. Together as one team here. It's actually fantastic. Working in DHL supply chain at the moment is, yeah, it's like paradise, I have to say. I really love it. It's fun. It's really fun. And another aspect that I wanted to share here is what I also really enjoy when I work with our company is, you know, there's a lot of research that has been launched already in the year 2013. Where 2 researchers, Frey and Osborne, they were investigating on the future of employment. And I hope that it came across, because Markus said this several times. We are a people-oriented business in DHL, and this will not change with digitalization. People are still our important part, yeah. And of course, when you look into this research from Frey and Osborne, it says that many jobs will disappear. I personally disagree with that. And I know, Markus, you as well, because in the end, the job itself will not disappear, but it's the way how the job is being performed. That is what will change, yeah. A picker is not anymore a picker. A picker will be in the future a robotic orchestrator, yeah, with his little gang of bots that he has to manage in order to deliver, yeah, the most efficient output. So, and I think this is the way where we are going towards when it comes to change management, talent management, and the way how we would like to approach the man-machine interaction. So it's fantastic times. This is definitely what I can highlight. Markus, anything to share from your side?
No, I think you did it very well. Maybe we'll leave. I see Ahmed also joining us again. We'll leave a few minutes for hopefully some some great questions of our audience here today, which I don't know how many they are, but I hope you enjoyed the insights into what we believe in, of how the industry is changing and how we are working on making a dream come true, as Tanja was explaining so well.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks a lot, first of all, Markus, Tanja. I think it was very inspiring and stimulating. We can listen to this exciting journey for hours, I believe. I am sure students also liked it. But on the other hand, I can hear the voice of students. Generally, they share the feedbacks that the logistics industry is transformed at the top speed, and they are thinking of what they need to do to be the future leaders in the industry. So I would like to come to a point that what all these mean for the young generation. A question to both of you. What are the top skills and capabilities that you are looking for in the future supply chain leaders?
Okay. So maybe I'll just start, and Tanja, if you want to build on it, and there are probably many things that we can touch here, but if there are two that I would say would be, in my mind, the top two skills and capabilities that a future leader should have is really around data literacy. Data is going to be the new gold in logistics, and understanding of how it can be utilized, and building your knowledge in that environment, and having capabilities. You don't have to be a data scientist per se, but you have to understand of how you manage the situation, how it can be applied is criteria number one. And believing in openness for new technologies. You always have to keep yourself. And the second, I think Tanja mentioned it, it's not to be underestimated, is build your skills on change management. If it is not helping, if you're the expert in a certain area, but you cannot transform and you cannot explain what you believe in a way that you bring people along. This is and will always be a people business. It is so important that things are being explained, transformed, and then rolled out and taught to our people in the logistics industry, our customers, that it can be taken on. Change management and data.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. But nevertheless, I would like to add two additional topics. And this is, I think, true for the future for all of us. Stay curious. I think this is really critical because, as Markus said, the world is changing constantly. And when you're not staying curious about it and being agile to adapt, then you're running into a problem. But this is true for all of us in the future, and for today and in the future, to be honest. And the second thing for the students that I would really like to share with you, do a job which really inspires you and where your heart beats for. Because passion drives so much energy, positive energy out of you. And I think Markus and I, we are very good examples because we are working, we have jobs where we are really passionate about it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be with you here at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning and running with you such a webinar in such an inspiring way.
I couldn't agree more. Thanks a lot. Actually, last question from my side before getting the questions from the participants. I know, Markus, Tanja, I mean, you have held the academic background and also professional career together hand in hand, getting PhD degrees together with business. So what is your career advice to the students? Can I have your last words about those?
I would say my academic background was always helping me. I'm a bit of a different animal in an industry which I don't know, probably don't have too many chemists. Although actually the CEO of the group, Frank Apple, holds a chemistry and biology as well, and chemistry as well. So very, very interesting. At least a few others have it. But what I would say is the skills that I've learned in my academic background are helping me every day. Finish your studies and stay curious. Obviously, if you have a great idea to do a startup, be my guest. And there are those few which are probably making it to a billionaire and build that unicorn. But I think education is the #1 qualification for the future. It will always help you to stay current, to stay curious, and to be on top of trends and be able with your brains to process new ways of working and then find the right solution in whatever you're going to do in the future.
I couldn't have said it better, Markus. I fully agree on this. I can subscribe this by 100%. And the other element, because it also helps me, right, each and every day, because life is not only changing, it also becomes more and more complex. And in order to be on top of the topics, it's very important that you're using and you're applying your academic skills. I mean, that's for sure. The other aspect that I definitely can say is, and this goes more on the human, also on the human touch, or it has a human touch. Please always act as a team player. One thing, and Markus brought this so nicely across when he shared the video with the collaboration hub, because Markus said, "Hey, this is something that I did with a friend of mine, right? We worked here as a partner." What also comes with digitalization is much more co-creation, much more networking, much more partnership. And that is also something, the social aspect is so important, right? Connect with others, be open in order to work in cross-functional teams. So Ahmed, that would be my additional comment on your question.
Thank you. Thank you. Great. We have a couple of more questions, Tanja, from the participants. I would like to start with the first one. Actually, we have been grown up hearing in the universities, high schools, that the geopolitical position of Turkey is always important, sitting in Europe and Middle East. So the question is coming related to that. So we think that it has an important value in terms of Turkey's geopolitical positions. What are your views on that? So do you think that Turkey has a regional advantage in terms of logistics?
Okay, do you want to go, Tanja, or should I?
Yeah, please start, because I would like to add, would like to bring in a different touch to the question.
So I've been fortunate enough to spend quite a bit of time in Turkey, and it's a great country, and it is uniquely positioned, no question about it. And I think logistics will always be physical in the end, and the way that Turkey is positioned. And forgive my maybe very short political sentence here. If you stay open, if you drive global trade, and I am a strong believer in global trade. If you can also be open, we said it a few times here, not only on technology but everywhere. Collaboration is key. I think this is very, very important. But you can be the bridge to Asia, and you probably always will be. So I would say the position is still great, and you can leverage that as a country in the future by staying very connected and staying open.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And let me add something, not only from a logistics part, exactly what Markus said, right? Geographically, you're the bridge between Europe and Asia, so to speak, right? In particular in Istanbul. I mean, there we directly see it. And what I can definitely say is when I was there and visited my team, so Ahmed and the R&D lab colleagues, I can truly say it's quite inspiring to see, in particular, the young people, how they manage this bridge. Yeah, to connect the different cultures. I think this is really unique, a unique position that you all have. And the other thing is what I really enjoyed was listening to my team members who also just joined from universities, how open they are to work more in a globalized environment and in a collaborative way. So please continue doing this. You have so much to give to the economy, and to all the companies. So please continue what you're doing. That's great.
Excellent. Thank you. The second question is coming from another side of the coin related to digitalization. So it has digitalization brings many concerns and problems in terms of protecting personal information. So do you think that digitalization will affect our personal private lives from this perspective?
Yeah, maybe I have a take on this with my CIO hat on as well. There is no question about that there is a strong impact of digitalization on data protection as well. In DHL, we take this very, very, very serious. Obviously, there is a legal obligation for us with GDPR, and in many other countries we have similar data protection laws as well. And I think it helped. Honestly, it helped to raise the bar and to raise the understanding of how things can be done. So we have a data protection officer reporting into my organization, and we take these things very, very seriously. We have everywhere around the world, we have people looking after the data protection, and we would not roll out any new solution without having looked very carefully at the data protection aspect. So it's something that needs to be taken very seriously. It will affect our lives. We have to manage it. With everything, with technology, with everything, we have to manage it, and we have to take a step back sometimes to not always look at the art of the possible. Everything that might be possible is not maybe the best solution for all of us as private individuals.
Absolutely, we should not scrutinize anything because we feel inspired and engaged by new technologies, and by by scrutinizing data protection, right? I think that's really critical. Data protection is key. And I'm happy, Markus, how you positioned it. We in DPDHL really take it very seriously, data protection, and I'm actually very proud of this as well. Ahmed, back to you.
Yes, actually, last question coming from our colleagues. So data and software is going to eat the world, you mentioned. So this is all positive impact, but it will, if we remove the repetitive tasks from our daily work, then it will mean that we have more time to be creative and self-development, which in turn makes a valuable individuals for DHL and for the world. What are your views on that? Would you agree?
100% subscribe to that. I think that's perfectly well said. It gives human mankind, we are curious individuals. We will find new solutions, and we will turn this to the better. I am a positive character in this sense, and it will make life better for our colleagues. It will make life better for us and for the planet in the end.
Couldn't said it better. So Ahmed, I think this is rather a lovely closing statement for our session, because it summarizes it very nicely up. It's, as Markus said, I mean, we can free up time from our colleagues, from all of us, right, to invest this into more inspirational, more creative activities. And this is all about in the end.
Exactly. We are coming to the end. We can definitely continue 1 more hour. Listen to both of you. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for making this happen, especially for the young generation in Turkey. I think it is great to see that top executives also from DHL supply chain are caring about this agenda and the young generation. Many thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Me as well. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Stay healthy.
As well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stay healthy.